As motorcycle enthusiasts, we all have that one bike that we're lusting after, but for some reason we can't find the right one. That bike for me has always been the Yamaha RD350. And last week I finally found the perfect one in the perfect price and the perfect spec, and more importantly, it was only an hour away from me. I immediately texted him and he responded and he said that the bike had already been spoken for. But the next day I get a message back saying me and the RD have been stood up. And with all of that being said, here it is. Right here is my 1975 Yamaha RD350. Now this bike right here has been allegedly sitting for about 7 to 10 years. And the guy wasn't a big motorcycle guy, so he didn't want to mess with the carburetors or getting it started or anything. The only thing the bike does right now is it kicks. He bought a new battery for the bike, so we do have that, but basically the only thing the bike right now, all it does is that. And it sounds like the bike wants to turn on, but I think it's going to be a little bit more complicated than that. One of the big things about this bike is not only is it complete and in overall decent condition, the chrome's in pretty good condition, the headlight, the paint is in decent condition all the way around. This particular bike has 15,600 miles basically. But before that, if you guys don't know the history about the RD350, let me run you through what this bike is and why I wanted it so bad. This right here is a 350cc parallel twin two-stroke that Yamaha made. RD stands for race developed. Now originally this bike was called the R5. The R5 has a 5-speed transmission, while the RD350 has a 6-speed transmission. They both were optional with the 350cc engine, but this one got a little bit of a revamp in order to make a little bit more power and something called torque induction. This bike was David versus the Goliaths. The 750s of the time were getting beat out by this little 350 right here. The Yamaha RD350 is a legend of its time and one of the most iconic motorcycles built during that period.
So step one into restoring this bike was to get it up onto the table and to start inspecting and seeing what this bike would do.
So we've got the bike on the table now, and the very first thing I want to do is to take this cover off, to take the air boot off, get everything accessed so I can see the inside of the carb here, and I'm going to spray a little bit of starting fluid and try to see if the motorcycle will come to life. The owner said that he drained the tank out of this RD, but he wasn't the biggest motorcycle guy, so he didn't know about the carburetors, and there's most likely fuel in the bowl, and I got super gummed up. Just to test my suspicion to make sure it's nothing point related or ignition related or anything like that, I just want to hear the bike as well, turn over, start, and see what it'll do with a little bit of starting fluid. I did check the oil, and it looks like right here that this oil cap has been busted. Let's see if we can open this just to double check before we start it up and do anything to harm the bike. We can check the oil in it. It has oil, but it is looking a little low. My camera probably won't focus, but it's barely touching the bottom of it. And there's actually a viewing hole at the bottom here. Maybe that's actually where I'm supposed to be looking. It has oil on the dipstick, so we should be good. Looks like a 10 to me. It's better than what Honda used, having just a tab that kind of pops into place, where these have loops on the top and a bolt on the bottom. You're less likely to break them that way. Now that we've got access to this boot, we'll get access to the other boot as well. Well, actually, we could have just sprayed it into the air box. I'm not thinking properly. I can already hear you guys in the comments screaming at me, and I just realized this, that, well, I can just spray the air box that's on top. All right, let's lower the bike just a little bit. So right here we can see there's an air filter. If I can figure out how to get this filter out, we should be able to just spray straight down into the carbs from here. So this side cover is actually plastic, but the one on this side is metal. I just found that to be interesting. I think it's because this holds oil. I have no idea. I know little to nothing about this bike, even though I've wanted one for a very long time. Actually working on it. I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go.
So now at this point, I'm trying to take the gas tank off. Clearly, it's not a fuel-related issue that we are having, because otherwise the bike would have done something. At this point, I started taking apart the spark plug and checking it for spark, and I saw nothing.
Well, it seems to me like the bike isn't getting spark. I took the spark plug wires out as you saw, and I used new spark plugs that I came with, and I only tested the right bank, So I think we're gonna have to do a little bit of digging in the ignition system.
The next step is to take the points cover off on the left side of the motor and to uncover the points and ignition system. As you can see, there is a little bit of corrosion on the top of the system here, but the main thing is when I would kick the motorcycle over, we weren't seeing the points open up. So manually with the screwdriver, we opened the points up to check to see if there was spark, and as you can see here, there is spark in both of the sides. So while there was spark, the one weird thing was when I would go to kick the motorcycle over, as you guys are seeing, we weren't seeing any spark and the points weren't opening up. What we decided to do was just clean the points off, and maybe there was a little bit of corrosion built in, and for some reason they were sticking. After cleaning it off, it seemed like we were seeing a little bit of spark, and we actually got the motorcycle to pop over for the very first time, and you can hear that right here. With the success of hearing that motorcycle pop over and start for just a second, I hooked up an external gas tank, put a little bit of premix in the gasoline to see if we can get this motorcycle to turn over and start and stay running for at least a couple of seconds.
So now that we verified that the bike runs, I kind of want to go see if it will ride. We got a little bit of space on the lawn next to us here, so I'm gonna hook the tank back up. But before that, we gotta fire the bike up and see if the pump is pumping oil into the engine. Because right here is a tank for oil to sit in, because this is a two-stroke, it needs to be pre-mixed, and in these motorcycles, there's a mechanical pump that actually feeds them from the factory. Those pumps rarely fail, but just because the bike has been sitting for so long, I want to verify that it is working, and if it's not working, I'm going to put extra premix into the tank. So the pump actually lives on this side of the engine right here, and we can take this cover off to see if it's working properly or not. So right here is that pump that I was talking about. This should go up and down with the throttle, as you can see there. Throttle is applied, the pump goes down, and this should be pushing up and down while the motorcycle is running. Look at the smoke this thing creates. So to me it looks like the pump is working, so what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of gasoline into the tank. The tank is actually really clean because the guy drained the tank before he parked the bike. There's two taps that come out of the tank, which is the reason why I'm putting the tank back on and not just using the IV, so that both carburetors can get a little bit of fuel evenly. The problem right now that we're having is the right carburetor seems to be overflowing and gasoline is just spitting out of it. They're going to have to come out, and we're gonna do that after I take it for a little joyride. I've been waiting for this moment for a very, very long time. I've never rode a two-stroke, and this is going to be the first time.
So now I'm just kind of cleaning everything up that I took apart, putting the bike all back together, putting gas in the tank with a little bit of premix in it. Just in case the pump wasn't pumping properly, I wanted to ensure there was a little bit of lubrication happening. But to finally have an RD350 and to hear it start for the first time was quite a feeling. Now at this point you can see me tapping on the petcock for the fuel because the left carburetor wasn't getting gasoline. So I took a little Allen key to see if I could clear it up, tapped it a little bit more, and gasoline started pouring out.
Let's go! Now we have fuel in both of the filters there. It's hard to see on camera, but both of them are filling up.
Now it's time to take the bike out. Now before I show you the little attempt at riding this bike, I want to mention one thing. The bike, at multiple times in this video, has been running on one cylinder. Sometimes that left cylinder actually starts to fire and the bike runs properly, but most of the time it's running on just the right bank. The reason for this could be a combination of it not getting proper fuel and also carburation.
So not only have I never ridden a two-stroke, I've actually never rode something smaller than 500 cc's before. This is the second smallest bike, third smallest bike that I own.
Right there, you could actually hear the breakup from the motorcycle that clearly tells you that it's not running correctly. Shouldn't do any damage to the bike, but I just thought I had to mention it because I know people are going to comment it.
Okay, here goes nothing. The bike is currently in gear. That's first. Let's do this. Well, it rides. Kind of wants to work. I think at higher RPM it gets a little bogged down. I'm gonna try riding it on the road.
All right, well, without further ado, let's see how this thing performs. Fuel is currently off. Let's turn it to reserve. Looks like we still have fuel in the tank. Okay, well, she's going. Wow. Well, she's alive. Just that easily. Less than an hour spent getting this thing up and running. Been sitting for only 7 years. He said it was professionally done up before that. Turn signals seem to be working now. That's much better. Just wanted to test it out in the neighborhood, make sure that she doesn't die. It seems to me like it is dying. A little bit of a miss. Well, we've died. I would hate to push it all the way back home. All right, let's try it again. I think it's a fueling thing, something not getting fuel. There we go. Well, we're back alive. I think the fuel tank just isn't giving it proper fuel. Or the carbs. Okay, well the bike is idling again, so I just think that it's not getting proper fuel from the carbs or the gas tank. Those are gonna have to be cleaned up. Bike has been sitting, that thing just needs to be cleared. But it definitely seems like it is more sluggish than what it should be. It's not giving the full power because those carbs are not running right. So clearly we've got some more learning to do with this RD350 right here, but I'm very excited to finally have this machine because I've been looking for one for a lot longer than I'm willing to admit. In the next episode, we're gonna get into the carbs, the tank, why it's not giving fuel correctly, and seeing if we can make this thing run nice again. Before we go super crazy with it, just give it a good servicing, and well, in the future, I do hope to make this bike really nice. I want to take everything apart, but in the meantime, I want to get it running again while I have other projects. We'll keep the full resto on a back burner for now, but I do intend to get this bike within the next 30 days back up and on the roads, enjoy it a little bit before wintertime comes. I'm super excited. If you guys are as excited as I am, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, because most of you guys who are watching aren't subscribed. If you have any suggestions because you've owned these bikes or maintained them or worked on them in the past, let me know in the comment section, and well, see you guys in the next one.